Did you know that the Vikings had a law that said it's okay to remove a bad ruler if he or she doesn't behave? In fact, this was important among northern Europeans in the Iron Age, because this was a Germanic law with origins in Scandinavia. And the way this legacy spread out among the Germanic tribes in Europe is kind of cool, because we can name many instances when it was used. The legendary outlaw Robin Hood's immense popularity in the Middle Ages was due to this resistance right. After all, he fought against the unjust and unpopular tyrant, the Sheriff of Nottingham in northern England. In 13th century Spain, King Alfonso of Castile, a descendant of the Burgundians, made the law code Siete Partidas, which was of great significance in Europe and Latin America for centuries. The Burgundian kings relied much on the teachings of Thomas Aquinas, especially his approach to natural law. Thomas Aquinas came from an important Lombard family in Italy, with close ties to the Normans in Sicily, and he wrote, "If a tyrant ruler doesn't obey natural laws, then the people can overthrow him." In Norman Sicily, the Sicilian Vespers led a successful rebellion after having had a deeply unpopular French king for 20 years, and they offered the throne to Spanish King Peter of Aragon, who accepted on behalf of his wife, who was Norman, Constance of Sicily. Further north in Italy, the Longobards formed the alliance, the Lombard League, to gain greater autonomy from the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II, and Frederick II held a famous court in Palermo, Sicily. He was of Norman heritage and became very powerful in the 13th century. Because of him and the Lombard League, Lombard identity is still a very strong thing in present-day Italy. Even the legendary hero William Tell, who is considered a father of Swiss Confederacy, was able to gather a large resistance in his fight against the Habsburg rulers, much because of this legacy. Back in Scandinavia, the early Vikings not only had a right but a duty to kill an unjust ruler who didn't obey the natural laws. We still call this the resistance right even today, and it was very important in ancient Norse laws. In the year 1030, this was used against Norwegian King Olaf the Holy, who was a brutal tyrant towards many peasants and noble families. This was also used on Swedish King Gustav in 1809, when the nobles got angry with him after losing a war with Russia. They then invited one of Napoleon's greatest generals to become king. Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte accepted, and his descendants are the present Swedish royal family. Much earlier, there's a funny story about the legendary King Eystein, who placed a dog king to rule in Trondheim. This happened after the locals had killed his son for being a bad ruler. In return, the king gave the people of Trondheim a choice between having a slave as a ruler or the dog named Sor. They chose the dog king, who was treated very well for 3 years, until some wolves somehow tore him to pieces. The point with this story is that previously our ancestors not only had a right to kill a tyrant, but it was considered a duty. This was also a Germanic legend further south in Europe and has since spread as a concept part of natural law. I argue that these roots sit deep within us. Now, these are of course older laws, but worth thinking about in modern-day democracies. After all, the natural law of Thomas Aquinas was much based on Aristotle. He saw democracy as too easily leading to corruption and recommended timocracy instead. In any case, I say we need good rulers, or else something awakens from deep inside us. Take care.